Hi, I'm Jake, and I've been drawing Pokemon since I was 7 years old. Today's video is coming to you from my car on my work break because I couldn't sleep last night with all of the ideas of hypothetical starters that could come in Generation 10. And knowing that Pokemon Day is on Friday, I wanted to try and get some of these ideas out before then to maybe compare and see, was I close or was I very far away? So before we get further in this video, I guess spoiler warning, because there are a lot of leaks online and I haven't read them and I'm not going to be going into the leaks, but I will be mentioning where the next region supposedly is based on. So if you don't want to hear that, maybe come back and watch this video in a few weeks. But let's get into it. Gen 10 is heavily rumoured to be based on Southeast Asia. That could be things like Thailand or Indonesia. So I looked at iconography and myths and animals from those locations to inform my starter designs. Starting off with the grass starter, I wanted to make a fake one based on rice paddies because they're just iconic for that Southeast Asia look that I'm going for this idea. When I was doing some Googling, I found that tapirs also live in Southeast Asia, so I decided to use that as the basis of the animal design. And then for an additional element, I used the goddess deigns, I think her name is, who is a harvest goddess and supposedly created rice once she sadly passed away. But anyway, this is just me sketching out some ideas for how the line could look. I wanted to be really careful not to blur the lines and go towards the drowsy or Munna evolution lines. This needed to stand alone and be different to them. Obviously, since this Pokemon is based on rice paddies and a rice goddess, I thought maybe it could look like rice food. And I gave it that leaf on its belly to try and look like, is it onigiri, I think it is? But then I realised that's not really Southeast Asian. And then I came across this. This is klepon, I think it's pronounced, which is an Indonesian dish. It's like sweet rice balls. And Indonesia is heavily rumoured to be part of, or what makes up this next region as well. Introducing Paddir, the paddy Pokemon. Though clumsy and slow, it instinctively senses changes in humidity. When it takes naps in fields, crops seem to grow around it. So let me know what you think of this little gal. I think she's super cute personally. She's probably one of my favourites of this bunch. And I hope you like this new art style as well. I was trying out a different way of shading. Let me know in the comments if you think it's worth it or not. Because I'm recording this on my lunch break, I probably don't have time to do the full evolution lines in a fully rendered art style. So stick around to the end of the video where I sketch out what I think they could hypothetically evolve into. But for now, let's move on to the fire starter. I took inspiration from Krakatoa, which is a huge volcano just off the coast of Indonesia, as well as Javan rhinos and traditional sort of armours. I thought that the plates on the rhino could be like its armour and its horn could become the huge volcano. So sorry, I forgot to record the start of this process, but here's some of the sketches I got to before I remembered and actually turned on the recording. The idea that I had for the final stage was this huge bulky bipedal rhino, and I was struggling to translate that into the first stage because it just looked like an Animal Crossing villager. So I posted in my Discord and asked for some help, and people unanimously preferred the four-legged version. So we went back to the drawing board and I tried again. I wanted to avoid making 3 starters that were all quadrupedal, but that's why I forced the fire starter to be on 2 legs and it just didn't look right. In the end, I combined the head and the body into this one singular shape and put that big plate on its back to reference like the plated armour of rhinos. And then I just made the horn a little bit bigger, kept the eyebrows, and changed the colour from red to orange. I tried to keep it in a pose that looked like it was energetic and running because this is going to be the energetic and rambunctious starter of the 3. Rambunctious, what a word. This is Frhyno, the little horn Pokemon. It charges recklessly at opponents. Luckily, its thick hide protects it from accidental damage. When angry, its horn heats up, causing the tip to glow. I really like this design, and I'm really glad that I took the time to take a second attempt at it. So thanks for everyone's feedback in the Discord group. Moving on to the final starter of the water type, I wanted to make it a catfish, but specifically a Mekong giant catfish that I found in the Mekong River in Southeast Asia. I also wanted to tie in themes of the mythological Fire Naga, I think that's how you pronounce it. It's basically a giant dragon spirit that lives in the Mekong River. I also wanted to tie in themes of monsoons and tropical storms, and I thought if I'm going to make it a catfish, most starter Pokemon live on both land and water, I guess, if they're the water type starters. So I used the Sumatran tiger as a basis to make it a bit more animal-like. Because as much as I find that catfish cute, I don't think that Game Freak would make an actual fish as the starter Pokemon. It needs to be a bit more anthropomorphic and a bit more hyper-consumable. I just played around with a few different poses and I wanted to keep it really fluid and motiony. That's not a word. But because it's a water starter, I thought that the more fluid shapes fit and could almost represent the river that it's inspired by. Introducing Kitfin, the catfish Pokemon. This playful Pokemon gathers in flooded fields during heavy rains. It loves nothing more than splashing in puddles, and it's well known for leaving its trainer's house to go and find one to do so. I think I've decided that I'll be choosing Kitfin. I'm a sucker for water types anyway, and this little guy is really cute. I hope you like him too. And now for the grand reveal of my really rough sketches. So these would be the ideas for my final evolutions of these 3 starters. So starting with the grass starter, we'd be adding the fairy type because of that goddess theme, and I imagine it has a huge mane on its back, or maybe from its head like hair, of a big plush coat of lush vegetation. Fire type starter would become a fire rock type, and its horn would become a full-on living volcano with huge rock type armour. And finally, the water type starter would gain the electric type. Now, granted this is probably the most rogue type to add to a starter Pokemon, but I think it links to that monsoon theme that I wanted to give it, and I debated a lot about giving it the dragon type, but I thought that might be a bit too much for a starter Pokemon. So there we have it. Let me know who you guys would be picking as your starter Pokemon for this hypothetical Southeast Asian inspired region. Personally, I like them all. I probably have all 3 on my team. But yeah, comment down below who you like the best, and I guess on Friday we'll see who the real starters are and if I'm bang on the money or got this completely wrong. Either way, this got me really excited for Gen 10 and I can't wait for Friday's reveals. Fingers crossed we actually get a new region announced and not just a remake of some old game, because I'd be very upset with that. I love new regions and I'm very excited for a new adventure. So yeah, I'll see you next time guys. Thanks and bye.